This is 100 years of therapy that has helped us to understand this. Virginia Satir used to see the level of dysfunction in families just by listening to the communication, and the level of codependency in families. It was absolute work of art to watch her communicate with people. Confronting magical expectations. Hey, don't wait. Don't try hard. Do it. Don't wait. If you're waiting for your prince to come, no, go call. Go get phone numbers and call and put a sign on you. I'm looking for a prince. I'm looking for a princess. You know, I mean, this waiting, sometimes you have to wait. But don't do it if you don't have to. It's a magical act. See, it's all that fairy tale stuff. That if you just wait long enough, your prince will come, your princess will come. I had about an 80-year-old woman come in for therapy one day, just furious. She had been waiting 42 years. You know, she was really angry. And nobody had come. I remember when I came out of the seminary, I thought, well, now, you know, it'll get around fairly quick that they know John Bradshaw is out of the seminary. And I'll just sort of wait for the companies to call. And about 4 months later, I had this guy that was a sponsor in a 12-step group, and he drove me to the super highway, the big thoroughfare, and it was about 7 in the morning. And I said, what are we doing here? And he just sat there silent. I said, what are we doing here? And he said, well, you see all those cars? I said, sure, I see these cars. What is this all? He said, they're going to work, John. They're going to work. I said, oh, I see. You have to go out and ask somebody for a job. See, this magical little, I'd studied to be a priest, why people should be beating their door down to come find me. That isn't the way it works. Confront the magic. Confront toxic guilt. You have a right to your own life. You have a right to your own life. Create a bond with same-sex groups. Now, I don't want that to sound sexist. A lot of us have not had fathers. A lot of us men have never bonded with men. There's a lot of homophobia, a lot of beating up on gay people out of that homophobia because men have never been loved by men and don't feel lovable as men. Now, a lot of women have never been loved by women and don't feel lovable as women. So what happens to the inner child when that happens? You think you got to have a man to be fixed. But if you don't have a man, well, you might as well give your body to science. If I don't have a woman, and I did that, I went to women to be fixed. I went to Holy Mother Church to be fixed in my life. And what I found was, and I've had this for about 7 years, my fathers, my new family, are a group of men. And oh man, to experience fear, to express fear with other men, to cry in front of other men, to have other men tell me they love me, to call me to myself when I'm beaten up on myself, to be vulnerable is really powerful. And I have Johnny, and I have George, and I have Michael, and oh man, is it wonderful. And that's been a very important thing for me. Now, I'm not saying that may be what you need to do, but I'm suggesting that a lot of wounded inner kids have a lot of sexual confusion, don't really love ourselves for who we are, set goals and experiment with goals. This is one of the things, purpose is one of the tasks of preschool children. Now again, there's tons more things you can do there, but all the major therapies help people with these kind of things. New learnings for school age, life skills. There's just a lot of stuff I didn't learn to do. See, one of the jobs of parents is to give time, to give attention, and to give direction. To give direction. I can barely change a light bulb. When my car breaks down, if there's a woman around, I open the car and take the dipstick out. Pretending like I know what I'm doing. And why? Because I feel like, I have these tapes in my head that real men are supposed to know how to fix mechanical things. And, so if there's a woman around, I just leave the thing, go call AAA. Because I haven't the foggiest idea what's in there. And not the foggiest idea. And but you know, the point is that I never learned how to do any of that. Now, you know, maybe in retirement I'm going to learn how to fix some stuff like that. Maybe not. But social skills. How many of you have trouble when you get in a social, you know, you go to a party? When I quit drinking, I couldn't imagine why anybody went to a party. The only way I knew how to have any fun at a party was to be crocked. Or, you know, to stand there by the hors d'oeuvre table and eat over in the corner. But you know, you have to learn social skills. Social skills are something that we can be taught. If they can be modeled for us. So it's very important. Setting intellectual boundaries. Practicing values clarification. I talked about that in another program. What is it that you stand for? What do you believe? What are your beliefs as opposed to parent tapes? Just something you've internalized. Remember I talked about, is it something you've chosen? Did you choose it from alternatives? Do you understand the consequences of it? Do you prize and cherish it? That is, you really have commitment to it? Do you act on it? Do you act on it repeatedly? Is it something you would publicly proclaim if you needed to? Your belief system, if it were appropriate? See, that's a value. Now, if you don't have those qualities in it, it's something, you do it once a year. You go to the synagogue once a year. That's not a value. That's probably the terrors of hell or something, or Gehenna or whatever. But it's probably not a value. A value is something that is chosen from alternatives. You know the consequences. You prize and cherish it. You act on it repeatedly. And if necessary, you'll proclaim it. See, are you a value to yourself? Do you value yourself? Would you stand up and say, I am a good and wonderful person? That, you know, I am valuable. This is what we've been talking about in these other programs, being devalued. Abuse devalues children. Abuse devalues you, and it's hard to develop that as adults. And this is the best way I know to develop it, to start connecting with that child and championing the child. And really what values are intellectual boundaries. They are what you stand for. Look, here are my sexual boundaries. Here's what I know I will do that I feel comfortable with, and here's what I won't do. And I'm real clear about that. Now, I'm not saying you have to flip this out on every date. You know, hey, Buster, you know, and here. But I think it's very important to have such values, to have body values. You know, I see people come up and hug someone without even asking them, or just sort of get in their space. And the more abused people are, often the worse their boundaries are. It's like you don't have good boundaries because nobody respected or valued your boundaries. See, how do you learn boundaries? By noticing, by having people who respect your boundaries. So, brainstorming a problem with friends, co-creating a solution. Remember, this is a cooperative stage. The school age is a cooperative stage. Practice negotiating conflict. There are ways we can learn to fight fair. There are ways we can learn to fight fair. Breaking parental enmeshments. Now that's a whole technique that I use, but that's a lot about the idea that many of us were bonded to a parent, either a parent of the same sex, a parent of the opposite sex, and a lot of this inner child work. I put that here because it's sort of like when you're leaving home, it's really important to leave home. It's really important to break that bonding with that parent. And a lot of people have not done that. They don't know how to do that. I have some exercises that I do. There's some wonderful exercises that Connie and Steve Andreas, who are NLP people, have developed in their works for breaking those kind of enmeshments. Those of you who did the work on homecoming, you did the exercise and you said goodbye, that's breaking an enmeshment. So that is too, you know, it's just something that I want you to know that you can do. And the grief work is a way that you can do it. So championing this child is a way that all of us can learn to integrate this energy into our lives. I have people in the workshops finish the fairy tales that they start. And, you know, I wrote my fairy tale, and then I write an ending to the fairy tale. So it's a wonderful kind of experience to begin to be this child's champion. And in my opinion, a lot of the coldness, the rage, the anger, the violence in the world comes from this wounded child. That when I see people who are angry and who are isolating and you can't get close to them, there's a little kid in there that wants to be loved, wants to be close. A girl named Mary sent me this poem. It's an anonymous poem. It talks about 6 humans trapped by happenstance in black and bitter cold. The poem's called The Coal Within. Each one possessed a stick of wood, or so the story's told. Their dying fire and needed logs. The first man held his back, for on the faces around the fire he noticed that one was black. The next man, looking across the way, saw one not of his church, and he wouldn't bring himself to give the fire that stick of birch. The third man sat in tattered clothes. He gave his coat a hitch. Why should he put his log to use to warm the idle rich? The rich man just sat back and thought of the wealth he had in store and how to keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. The black man's face bespoke revenge as the fire passed from sight, for all he saw in his stick of wood was a chance to spite the white. The last man of this forlorn group did nothing except for gain. Giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. So, their logs held tight in death's still grasp was proof of human sin. They didn't die from the cold without. They died from the cold within. This is a beautiful poem. I wished I knew who wrote this. If anybody is out there and you wrote this, please let me know. But the healing of that child, championing that child, the child is very healing. Children have fights and then they kiss and hug. Walt Disney, when he died, Disney understood this. Listen to what Severide said when Disney died. He was an original, not just an American original, but an original, period. One of the happiest this century has ever experienced. He probably did more to heal or at least soothe the troubled human spirit than all the psychiatrists in the world. What Walt Disney seemed to know was that while there's very little adult in a child, there's tons of child in every adult. And to a child, the world is brand new every day, and Grumpy and Sneezy and Snow White may be fantasy, but they're a lot better than ICBMs. Boy, I mean, what a statement. So, look, next time we're going to find your wonder child, so join me again then. Bye-bye.